But the big story at the moment, a day after the central government decided to go ahead with 10% quotas for the economically backward, the government has decided to pass, has moved the constitutional amendment bill in the Lok Sabha. The debate is underway in Parliament. The BJP hailing the move as historic, the opposition questioning its intent. But it appears no one beyond a point can say no to quotas. Sabka Vikas equals Sabka Quota. That's our top story tonight.
Reeling from shocking defeats in 3 Hindi heartland states, the Narendra Modi government has taken the first step to win back the upper caste voters. The 10% quota for economically weak among the general category is being seen as a masterstroke by the BJP and being dismissed as a jumla by the opposition.
2.5 घंटे का भाषण दिया।
हमारी जो गरीब की गरीबी हटाने के लिए जो कमिटमेंट और निष्ठा है वो केवल मैनिफेस्टो तक सीमित होगी या पार्लियामेंट के कानून के माध्यम से उसकी शिक्षा और रोजगार तक जाएगी, ये कांग्रेस पार्टी और इनके साथियों की आज परीक्षा है।
Without properly doing the homework, looking at the election manifesto, government is trying to bring even the parliament under pressure. Madam, this is something you are butchering Indian democracy. You are butchering Indian democracy.
But one thing is evident, nobody wants to be seen as opposing the bill, which will also benefit categories within other communities who do not enjoy reservation. Most are questioning the timing.
Nobody is going to oppose the bill as such. Because what I wanted to say, whenever interest of the unemployed youths are involved, those are not normally opposed. But this bill is actually somewhere appeared to be political messaging.
Quota for all, however, has opened another front. Many OBC leaders are demanding more reservation.
अब जब गवर्नमेंट 50% की सीमा को उल्लंघन आगे जा रही है, जब उस लक्ष्मण रेखा, अब हमारा ये मांग है कि ओबीसी का उनकी आबादी के हिसाब से 54% आरक्षण होना चाहिए.
With the new quota bill, the BJP believes it can appease its trusted and core voter base of the upper castes. But will it be a masterstroke or a jumla or a bit of both? We will have to wait till 2019 elections to know exactly that. Bureau Report, India Today.
Okay, so Parliament as we speak. Let's cut to Parliament for a moment. Remember, the debate is going on even as we speak in Parliament. In a moment from now, as opposition party leaders and others speak, let's raise the big questions tonight. Is the quota for all Narendra Modi's masterstroke, or is it a self-goal? That's the first big question we are raising. Has 10% quota for economically weak opened a Pandora's box? Remember, there are leaders today who are calling now for quotas to be increased even for OBCs. If quota for poor is badly planned, why is the opposition's criticism so mild? Why is everyone today saying they support what the Modi government did? Has the Modi government therefore wrong-footed the opposition in an election year? What is the use of this quota if the government is not even filling vacancies that are at the moment still open for SCs and STs? Just some of the questions we're going to raise tonight. Is this Mr. Modi's masterstroke or a self-goal is the central question. Gaurav Bhatia, spokesperson BJP, Khushbu Sundar, spokesperson of the Congress. In the studios, Professor Neera Chando, political scientist and formerly of Delhi University. Colin Gonzalez, senior advocate, joining me. And Rishabh Ranjan is coordinator of Yuva Halla Bol, a group of youngsters which says jobs ahead of reservations. They want jobs first. Just some of the questions we're going to raise tonight. But I want to come to you today at the start, Gaurav Bhatia. Is this the master stroke, or have you opened a Pandora's box? We have now political leaders like Ram Gopal Yadav saying double the reservations for OBCs. If you can give it to economically weaker unreserved category 10%, then double our quota. Is this now competitive reservation politics because Mr. Modi in an election year desperately needs the upper caste vote bank back? This is about vote banks.
Rajdeep, I would say Narendra Modi ji has shown what Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas is. And he has delivered on the most important front. The economically weaker section in the general category was ignored by all political parties. And now what Narendra Modi ji and the government is doing is, we are bringing in a constitutional amendment so that it would ensure equality and justice for the economically weaker section amongst the general category. And tomorrow, if it is also challenged before the court, it would withstand the judicial scrutiny also. The most important aspects of this constitutional amendment are, one, that it does not affect the existing quota for the SC/ST community as well as the OBC community. Second, irrespective of the religion of a person, if he is economically weaker, then he would also benefit from this quota that is being provided. And third, especially education is the foundation for a person's future. Therefore, in private schools and colleges also, it would ensure for this class of people that they can get reservation in private schools and colleges as well, which will ensure better quality education for them. Now, the political parties, they have no option but to support it, because they know that it is a very, very good move by Narendra Modi ji. But they are not doing it wholeheartedly because they are worried about their own political prospects. And that, I think, is unfortunate. This is an occasion when all political parties should rise above petty politics or political lines, and they should wholeheartedly support this bill that has been introduced. It is actually a historic moment for our democracy.
I didn't interrupt you, but I want two quick answers from you. Question number one to you, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, and I want a straight and direct and honest answer. Do you suddenly remember the economically poor among the unreserved 4 months before an election? For 4.5 years, you didn't remember them. Now today, on the virtually the last day of the session, you've even extended the Rajya Sabha by a day to pass it. You do it 1 month after you lose an election in 3 Hindi heartland states. Is this not cynical politics? What you are calling historic masterstroke, is this not cynical politics? Too little, too late. The people will see through this.
Yes. Rajdeep, let me answer it. You're questioning the timing of the government. First of all, I think we need to discuss this issue on the substance, whether the bill has merit, whether it would empower the economically weaker section in the general category or not. And the answer is a categorical yes. Therefore, the timing is not that important, but the message and the opportunity that it would provide is far more important. And let me tell you, give you a fact. In 1971, Indira Gandhi said Garibi Hatao, but there was Congress government for the majority part of the tenure, and they couldn't do anything for these poor class or the economically weaker section. Now it is most important that Modi government in its tenure of 5 years is delivering. Had the previous government, also the UPA government in 2006, had constituted a committee, but that committee did not even take any affirmative action. So rather than criticizing, we should appreciate that in a tenure of 5 years also, something historic is being done which would benefit generations to come. Second, the timing should be questioned. When the Congress brought the Lingayat issue just before the Karnataka election, the timing was suspect. When farmer loan waiver happened before the 2009 election, and the timing was suspect when one rank, one pension was only theoretically introduced in 2014 March. So, I'll give you ample examples of what timing is only for political gain. This is a very substantial move by the government.
I'll come to the substance of it in a moment. Let me also tell you that when the Siddaramaiah government brought in benefits for Lingayats, you were among those who opposed it most vehemently, saying this is an election gimmick. What is sauce for the goose must be sauce for the gander as well. But let me come to you for a moment then, Khushbu Sundar. Let's be very clear. For all your talk of this being an election jumla of the Prime Minister, the fact is you cannot oppose it today on the floor of the House. The fact is, at the moment, even as this debate is going on, virtually every party is saying that we will support this constitutional amendment. So you are left with no choice but to support Mr. Modi's big move. He has captured the political narrative. No one is talking of Rafale anymore. They're talking of reservations. In 24 hours, Mr. Modi has changed the narrative.
Exactly, Rajdeep. You have actually nailed the, the last nail in the coffin. They wanted to some issue to take it away from the Rafale scam, because that has what has been troubling them, and this is what they have come up with. We're not questioning the amendment. We are questioning the timing. And what we say is this: we have seen whether it was P.V. Narasimha Rao government or whether it was Manmohan Singh government. We also have spoken about reservation for the economically backward people. It's not about the caste. It's never about the caste, the creed, or the community. It's about the economically backward. And we do say that yes, every person who's economically backward, they need a push to come up in life. They need a better lifestyle, and every needs an equal, kind of a dignity to live with. But then we questioning
why not accept that Mr. Modi has pulled off of why not accept that Mr. Modi has captured the narrative? You have no choice but to back it. In fact, it's the upper caste vote.
No, he's not captured the narrative. He has brought in another jumla.
No,
he has brought in another jumla is because Rajdeep, he's brought in another jumla is because we need to talk about it. This is not really acceptable when you look at it, the constitutional. It's completely against the norms of the constitution.
Then
now,
why don't you oppose it?
1992
why don't you oppose it? If it is against the norms of the constitution, Ms. Khushbu Sundar, then oppose it on the floor of parliament. Say we reject it.
Because we have been talking about it. We have been talking about it. We will not oppose it. We will not oppose it is because we have been talking about it, Rajdeep. Like I said, whether it was P.V. Narasimha Rao government or whether it was Manmohan Singh government, we have been talking about this. So we are not going to oppose it. We are saying the timing. And Gaurav Bhatia was talking about whether 2019 about the farm loan wave. I think we have done it even recently in all the 3 states we won. And you follow it back to back with us.
1 minute, Ms. Sundar. Ms. Sundar, just a minute.
Say that you haven't
Ms.
done
Sundar, 1 minute. At the end of the day, all you can do is question the timing. It appears at the moment. Let's come to the content, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to be critical. This is a serious constitutional amendment bill that's going to change the lives in some way, possibly of all those who may benefit from reservation and those who will be. Just a minute, ma'am.
Bill was not spoken to the other parties before bringing it to the parliament.
1 minute.
None of the opposition parties were even, considered about it. They were not even spoken about it.
Just a minute.
A constitutional bill which has to be brought into the parliament, the other parties have to be taken into the account and spoken about it.
Can I just get in one by one? Neera Jandok, your view on content. Let's look at the content and the substance of it. The government says those with less than 5 acres of land and who earn less than 8 lakhs a month will get the benefits. As per our figures, that includes virtually 86% of those who qualify within this unreserved category. Essentially, you're saying 10%, but actually it means virtually everyone today can take the benefits of reservation. Your sense of the substance of what the government has done, has it opened a Pandora's box in a way?
It's a case of bad politics, and it's been done before, because government, all political parties adopt the soft option. No political party can deal with the agrarian crisis, which is driving farmers to suicide. And now people are leaving the agricultural sector and asking for jobs. They cannot create jobs. This government has nothing to show. So you promise reservations. Now, in the process, not only is it undoable, in the process you're delegitimizing reservations. Reservations were supposed to be for people who are doubly disadvantaged by virtue of caste and class, by virtue of tribe and class, and in the United States, race and class. If we hadn't had reservations for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, these kids would not have been allowed to sit in classrooms. So you have the politics of presence. Why do you need quotas for the upper caste who are economically backward?
No, what happens therefore? But as you are saying, you are seeing it in state after state. Jats, Marathas, Patidars are all asking for reservation. They are saying India has changed from 1950 to 2019.
But that is a problem. Every government, state or central, is pitting caste against caste. Actually, caste alliances have broken up on the issue of quota because governments have adopted the soft option. More importantly, it shows the limits of political imaginations. You cannot restructure your economy, either agrarian or urban. So you introduce quota what? In a declining educational sector and a declining government sector. Education institutions are under siege. The quality of your public institutions, public universities has declined dramatically. Now you want to give quotas for anybody and everybody. Why don't you give them scholarships? Why don't you subsidize education further? Universalize primary education and school education. What is the point in giving quotas when your educational institutions are under fire? I don't understand this logic.
You don't understand the logic in a sense from a theoretical point of view, but the political logic is you're looking for vote banks. There are vote banks out there. And this is all about competitive vote bank politics. I want to ask you here, young man, because you are part of this group that you all have formed. Correct me with the name of your group. It's Yuva Halla Bol, right? Yes. And you all are the young people, Rishabh Ranjan, who are saying we want jobs, not reservations.
Yes.
And yet at the end of the day, there are equally a large number of people with the protests in Maharashtra, Gujarat, in Haryana who are saying, no, we want caste-based reservation.
Yeah.
Why do you want, why are you against reservations?
No, Rajdeep, I think that we shouldn't get into this debate. And we truly believe that this debate or this discourse is created by the government to suppress the national movement against unemployment. Because what is the government of the representative of the government saying? That this is historic. What is historic? We have seen UPA 2, that was jobless growth. We are seeing Modi government, which has job loss growth. Rajdeep, 24 lakh jobs which are vacant in the government is nobody is looking into it. 4 lakh jobs which are notified government jobs is scrapped. So what about their demands? And when
so you are saying existing government jobs are not being filled, vacancies are still existing,
yes,
and at the same time we are going with quotas. You are
yes,
saying first fill the existing vacancies.
And the cabinet minister of this government, Nitin Gadkari, has himself said during Maratha agitation that reservation is not the solution to jobs because there are no jobs. Rajdeep, I want to explain that when a student comes and prepares for a job, he goes through a system of exams, and that exam is filled with irregularities. This is historical. The dark regime of paper leak, is this historical? We need to ask this government. Today we address the press conference and we are saying that we want job, not jumlas, and this is the line we are taking.
You want jobs, not jumlas.
Yes.
Okay, that's a very strong statement. Colin Gonsalves, you're listening to this. Before I come to you, Gaurav Bhatia, I'm bringing in all the various angles to this debate, but Colin Gonsalves, one of these angles is going to be in the Supreme Court. The fact is, with this reservation that is about to be passed in the Lok Sabha, we will have 59% reservations officially. In states like Maharashtra, it will go up to 78 because they've already given 16% reservations to Marathas. I want to understand, will the Supreme Court accept all this? Do you believe, as Arun Jaitley says, that the Supreme Court wants economic equality, which this bill will provide? It's 50% was only meant for caste-based reservation. This is about economic empowerment, is what Mr. Jaitley said today in Parliament.
Well, this is all hot air. It's a hot air balloon. And I think it will have a historic crash. It will be punctured very soon. It will only take one day, the first day, if a law like this is brought before the Supreme Court, for the Supreme Court to stay that law. Why? For several reasons. First, reservation even for backward classes is possible only when your representation in the state is less than your percentage in the population. That is to say, you are not adequately represented in posts in the state. Now, the forward castes are more than adequately represented, much more than their percentage in the population. Therefore, reservation for forward castes is impossible on this score. It doesn't take much thinking to arrive at this conclusion. Second, even if we assume that reservation purely on the basis of poverty, economic criteria is possible, even if we assume that, who is the Modi's poor? 8 lakhs a month? 8 lakhs a year, 65,000 rupees a month is Modi's poor man? 5 acres of land, a 1,000 square foot flat? What is Mr. Modi talking about? Obviously, he is not talking about the poor. He doesn't care for the poor, really. He's talking about the middle class, upper caste whom he's trying to win over with this phony tactic. It won't work at all, because neither your criteria for caste is valid, nor is your criteria for poor valid. Ultimately, what is happening? Modi is proposing to give reservation to the very caste, the upper caste, who are in the forefront of the anti-Dalit movement. They are oppressing Dalits, they are engaging in atrocities, they are doing untouchability practices, and Mr. Modi is rewarding them.
No, one
for
minute.
doing
One
exactly
minute.
the atrocities
Let's
that this
focus.
country isn't
Let's
famous for.
focus on the first few points you raised, which I think are reflective of what is being suggested, Gaurav Bhatia, by critics of the bill. That the real focus should be on jobs for those who need it most. The real focus should be that. This is not going to provide jobs for those who need it most. This is not going to provide the quality education for those who need it most. You have, in a hurry, brought in a bill without actually going through the micro details of it. This bill is not really going to change the face of the upper caste poor, who really maybe need benefits, but this is not the way to do it. How do you respond?
Rajdeep, let me try and explain it to you and to the viewers. First of all, a precondition for creating any reservation is creation of jobs. So it's not as if, the government has not been creating jobs or creating employment opportunities, and therefore in lieu of that, we are bringing in this, amendment. Rather, we want to ensure that the jobs that are created at a robust rate, they are utilized and the economically weaker section out of the general category benefits from the creation of these jobs, because it is most essential for them to become part of the mainstream. Therefore, it is an important step. Second, if you read Article 46, Article 46 clearly allows, and it reads as under, I am quoting it, the state shall promote with special care the educational and economic interests of the weaker sections of the people, and in particular of the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes. So it is very much permissible, and this is directive principle for the government, that a new category can be carved out. I was listening to my eminent senior colleague, Colin
you are a lawyer who is selectively quoting. I can turn to Article 15 and 16 of the Constitution that clearly does not allow, and the Indira Sawhney judgment in the Mandal case clearly does not allow economic backwardness to be a criteria for reservation. I'm not saying that that cannot change, but the existing law does not allow what you are doing.
Rajdeep, I'll fulfill my obligation as the spokesperson of the BJP and also as a lawyer if you do not interrupt, Rajdeep. I'll not be selective, I assure you. Now, let me tell you, a new category on the basis of economically weaker section has been now carved out, because if there is poverty, then those people need to be empowered. And under Article 368, there is plenary power of the parliament to legislate and amend the constitution as long as it is not violative of the basic structure of the constitution. And this is what Indira Sawhney says. And please hear, Rajdeep, I'm just reading one line. The 50% quota that some of the opposition parties are talking about, it was in reference to only SC, ST and OBC quota, and this line goes as under. We are also of the opinion that this rule of 50% applies only to reservations in favor of backward classes made under Article 16(4). Now, by the constitutional amendment, there is a new sub-article that is being introduced, and through which it is an empowering provision, and we are very sure that it would be upheld by the Supreme Court also, because the purpose of the Constitution and what Article 46 envisages is being achieved by that. So let us not preempt or let us not jump to conclusions.
Can we now turn back to the question I asked of jobs?
The passage of this
Can I now turn to the central question? If you really so care for the backward, for the upper caste poor, should the exercise not be first focused on how do you provide jobs for them? How do you fill in the existing vacancies? You can't fill in the existing vacancies and you are bringing in a new quota.
No, let me answer that. Let me answer that, please, Rajdeep. First of all, I think if you look at the EPF data, in 1 year, around 82 lakh new EPF accounts have been opened. That's a reflection of the new jobs that have been
turn
created
to the
in the
CMI,
private
the
and
Center for Monitoring
public
Indian
sector.
Economy data,
Second,
which is showing that
can I
1.2
just
million jobs
complete
have been
my
lost.
point?
Rajdeep.
I think
Rajdeep, can
Rajdeep,
I
as
come
an
in?
anchor, you also need to be patient. If I am answering your question, you need to
You
be
are
patient
providing
because
selective
I did not
data.
interrupt you.
You
or
are
any of the
providing
panelists.
selective data, therefore I have
I
to
am not
interrupt
giving
you.
selective data. I am not. I am not, Rajdeep. I am speaking with
Can I-
some
can I come in?
responsibility.
May I
No,
come in,
ma'am.
Allow me to
No, ma'am.
complete
You
my
cannot
line.
come in.
Second, you are absolutely right, Rajdeep, that it has been the endeavor of the government to create more jobs, and our real political dividend or geographical dividend is the youth of the country, and therefore we need to have more jobs. But that does not mean if job is created, then it should go to the right person, and to ensure that itself is a political gimmick or it's a wrong thing to do. Second, under the Mudra Yojana also, 13 crore people have benefited. There have been employment opportunities that have been created through Mudra Yojana. So self-employment also is a way to ensure that people and the youth of the country are getting empowered. We should not lose sight of that fact also.
Okay, young man, you heard from the party spokesperson. He is saying the government is trying to provide jobs. It's not either or. It's not jobs versus reservation. He says we are trying to provide jobs as well. This is one other way of uplifting those who need it most.
Sir, according to the datas, we are not able to find the data because the government is not sending us the data of the unemployment. And who are the right persons? Like those who appear for SSC, UPSC or other exams, how will they identify that who are right person? Because most of them are below 8 lakh per annum limit. And there are
But that is true of OBCs as well.
Yeah.
The creamy layer for OBCs also is pegged at 8 lakhs. Why are you raising these arguments now only when it comes to upper caste poor?
No, we are not raising that argument. It applies to everyone and it should be applied. But what about job aspirants? Because they are not getting any job, and I don't think that they have any data to prove themselves. And anyway, this order will be struck down by the Supreme Court. Because in Indira Sani case, Article 16 of the Constitution was interpreted and it was told that it was for participatory justice, social justice, not for redistribution.
You know,
it is very clear.
Do you not see though that the time, perhaps it is 25 years since the Indira Sani judgment. It is also over almost 30 years since the Mandal recommendations of OBCs. India has changed. There are groups, the Marathas, the Jats, there are Brahmin who are turning around and saying, what about our poor?
Sir, but there are no reports, no surveys.
Just a minute. In Maharashtra, we've seen there have been reports that have been put out by Maratha groups saying that they are economically disadvantaged today. Do they not have a right to reservations?
So let's ask the government if they have a survey.
Yes, Neena.
You see, a lot of mobilization goes on when the government ties opportunities to your social status or to your caste status.
Yes.
Now, because that is happening on a regular basis, castes are mobilizing, because I think political mobilization goes on within the framework provided by government. I am really disappointed at the opposition today. Instead of pointing out the flaws in this proposed policy, why do you need a constitutional amendment? The preamble says justice to all Indians, social, economic, political. You don't need instead of pointing out the flaws, instead of going to the electorate with an agenda showing that strengthen your education, we will strengthen your job situation, strengthen health, they are buying into this whole situation.
Because every political party believes reservation is a political weapon that gets votes.
It's a
Let's
soft
be honest.
option. It's a soft option.
You're saying
not
it's a soft option, but we are moving from one election cycle to another. We are in an election year. Every party wants votes, Neera Chandok. That's the reality.
But if they are going to go about it in this way, then the electorate is going to see through them, because in state after state, some state parties would say quotas for Muslim. The court strikes it down. Other state parties will say quotas for Jats. The Supreme Court strikes it down, except in a couple of cases.
By the time they strike it down, there will be an election. They want to win elections. That the point that Professor Chandok is making, Khushbu? Let's be very clear.
Rajdeep, let me come
why
in
is
on
the
that.
opposition?
That's actually not correct.
No, just a minute, Gaurav Bhatia. Now, why is the opposition? Why is the opposition, Khushbu, unwilling to take on the government beyond a point? Are you also not conceding at the end of the day that caste today is the primary loyalty when it comes to elections? You are also guilty of vote bank politics. You are worried that the BJP is stealing your thunder. That's the reality.
No.
Your 2014
No,
manifesto
because we know
also
that
spoke
this
of
will not be
economically
passed by the Supreme
disadvantaged
Court
groups
under
getting
further law.
reservations. Mr. Modi has gone ahead and done it.
Economically disadvantaged, first you need to create jobs. Rajdeep, you need to create jobs. You're not creating jobs. Where is the job? You had promised 2 crore jobs in a year, which means in 4 years and 9 months, you should have created 9.5 crore of jobs. Where are the jobs? The last year, 2018 CMIE report says that 1 crore people have lost their jobs, which is probably the highest in the century at the ratio of 7.3%. What jobs are we talking about? What is Gaurav Bhatia talking about? That they have created jobs. Let's look at the reality. Why is it they're not coming up as to how many people have lost their jobs in the last 4 years and 9 months? What is it? The Make in India has not come up. Skill India has not come up. What mudra are you talking about? Which mudra scheme are you talking about? Mudra scheme, let's bring it out. Put everything on the paper. Why are you scared? It's only the words. It's only the words. India has seen
My point
unemployment
is,
at its lowest in the
can I
last
come
4
in?
years and 9 months.
Rajdeep,
And
let me respond.
the reason we are talking about it,
Let me respond,
the reason being this will not be passed by the Supreme Court.
The fact is every political party is competing on reservations. The fact is every political party, ma'am, is competing on reservations. In
We are
which
not
state are
competing
you
on
willing to challenge
reservation. We are
it?
competing
You did
on
not
the
challenge
better
Maratha
living status
reservations
for the
in Maharashtra.
people.
You've
We are
not
fighting
challenged
for the
Jat
better living
reservations in
status of the people, a
Haryana. You've
decent-
not challenged
decent status for the people.
Patidar reservations in Gujarat.
Let
You
us
went along with
understand that this
Hardik Patel in
10% of law is
Gujarat.
going to eat into the OBC and the backward class and the Adivasis, whatever the reservation quota we have. This 10% is going to eat into that.
How is it going to eat
We
into
need to
that?
Can I
understand
come
that.
in, Rajdeep?
No, 1 minute, Gaurav Bhatia. Let's be very clear.
Because the government is there, government has said it's not going to be passed. It will not be passed by the Supreme Court. It will be struck down by the Supreme Court. Then what is the government going to do?
Okay, let me bring you in, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, because let's be very clear. You are a lawyer in addition to a politician. You know this is going to be struck down by the Supreme Court, and yet you are going ahead with it, and that is where the cynicism comes. Your cynicism is this, that you know there are elections in 4 months. The Supreme Court may take 6 months to decide this. By then you are hoping you will pull off a fast one over the electorate. That is the reality. That is the harsh reality. You didn't support Patidar reservation in
Rajdeep,
Gujarat.
let me now-
You didn't, but now today you are supporting Maratha reservation in Maharashtra because you know that's where votes are. This is about cynical vote bank politics. This is not about empowering India's youth. This is not historic.
Rajdeep.
This is a new law and reservation politics.
Rajdeep, let me now speak as a lawyer and dispel your pessimism. And I would not address, the concerns of the Congress for the time being, because there is a reason. When the Congress doesn't believe the Supreme Court judgment in the Rafale case, I'm sure any amount of statistics or data I'll provide, the Congress spokesperson will not believe me. But let me tell you, constitutionally speaking, Rajdeep, this is an amendment of its kind, and for the first time, for the economically weaker section,
in the parliament.
can I make my point, please?
Yeah, please,
Can I
no
first
interruption,
complete
please.
my point? Thank you, Khushbuji. Yes. Yeah. This is the first time that for the economically weaker section from the general category, an enabling provision is being made in the Constitution itself. So to say that no, it has been struck down by the Supreme Court earlier is not correct. And let me give you a fact, Rajdeep, why it was struck down in the Indira Sani case when brought in by P.V. Narasimha Rao ji. Because the introduction of this kind of reservation was introduced through an office memorandum dated 13th of August 1990. It did not have a constitutional backing. That is why the difference between the BJP that does its homework and brings in a constitutional amendment rather than a Congress government that introduces this kind of reservation only because they wanted to garner votes through an office memorandum, and therefore it was struck down
Are you
because it
telling
did not
me
have
seriously?
constitutional
Are
backing.
you telling
I am
me,
100%
Gaurav Bhatia,
sure
this is not about
when
votes?
it is tested.
Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, are you telling me that the BJP is not interested in any votes? That you are as pure as the Ganga when it comes to these issues?
I will give you a,
That
I will
this
give
is
you a
pure.
reply.
No, direct
Rajdeep,
answer. Don't beat
let
around
me-
the bush now.
Yes, let me
I
answer.
want a direct answer. Is this
be
not
direct
about votes?
answer.
Is this
You know,
not about
direct
votes?
answer.
It's not about citizens.
This
It's
is
about
about-
group identities. That's the
Yes.
reality. You are today dividing.
Now-
you
now
accuse
let
the
me-
opposition of
let me
vote
answer.
bank politics. You are playing your vote bank politics. You want the Brahmin vote, the Thakur vote, the upper
listen to
caste
me
vote.
also.
This is the reality of this country. That's the reality. Face it.
Right. Rajdeep, now listen to me as well. Don't get angry with me, you know.
No, no,
I know you're very angry with
I
me
am
tonight, but
amazed
please
that
listen to me.
politicians come on this program and don't tell the truth to the nation. My job is to put the
yes,
truth
I'll
out.
tell you-
The
I'll-
truth is all of you,
You know,
all of you
it
today in
is
Parliament,
ultimately-
each and every
Yes,
one of
yes.
you is playing
Please.
cynical vote bank politics. This is not going to change the lives of the poor of this
Now
country.
allow me to
That's
answer.
the reality.
Rajdeep.
You don't have jobs to
Rajdeep,
offer the poor.
As the spokesperson of the BJP,
have
as the
education.
spokesperson of the BJP, all that I have stated is the truth, and it is for the people of the country to decide whether the moves by the Narendra Modi ji government inspire confidence or not, whether it would positively change their future, whether it would empower them or not. And this is not Garibi Hatao like in 1971. This is not Lingayat just before the election. This is not about votes. This is about ensuring that the weakest and the poor is empowered. He can live a life of dignity. He becomes part of the mainstream. And that is the vision of Narendra Modi ji. This is अच्छे दिन for the common man. अच्छे दिन यही होते हैं राजदीप जी. ये वोट की राजनीति नहीं है.
सर,
ये
अच्छे दिन
मजबूत
में
करने
मुझे
की
नौकरी
राजनीति है
चाहिए.
आम आदमी को
सर,
जो
अच्छे दिन
गरीब
मुझे
है,
मिलते
जो
हैं जब
पिछड़ा
मुझे
है.
शिक्षा मिलती है, नौकरी मिलती है. अच्छे दिन केवल इस पे नहीं होते.
मैंने वो
केवल
जवाब दिए राजदीप जी, आपने सुना नहीं, मैंने वो भी जवाब दिए आपको. यही अच्छे दिन होते हैं, इसीलिए नींद उड़ी हुई है कांग्रेस की.
अच्छा, नींद उड़ी हुई है कांग्रेस की क्योंकि ये अच्छे दिन आ गए हैं. ओके, यस यंग मैन, अच्छे दिन आर कमिंग फॉर यू.
सर अच्छे दिन कहां से आएंगे? नीति आयोग की रिपोर्ट में जो न्यू इंडिया का स्ट्रेटेजी बनाती है वहां अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट को लेके कुछ है ही नहीं. मतलब इससे आप सीरियसनेस, वी कैन टेस्ट द सीरियसनेस ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. आई थिंक दैट गवर्नमेंट shouldn't be creative of creating new, producing no jumlas. The government should create jobs.
Mr. Modi has spoken of Stand Up India, Start Up India,
Yeah.
Mudra Yojana. Are you going to say all of that is jumla?
Yeah.
Anything that this government
That
does
is.
becomes jumla?
May I
Yes,
say-
very in
He had
conclusion,
come
ma'am.
He had come to power in 2014 on the plank of equal opportunity for
Yes.
all, right? Where are those equal opportunities? Why is it that they are stuck with upper caste poverty? They should have done something about it. They have done nothing, so they offer reservations as a sop. The opposition should go to town exposing their plank instead of buying into this very pathetic kind of vote
Because the
bank
opposition is
politics.
also bankrupt. They don't have any.
Very sad.
They
They are
don't have
bankrupt.
any long-term vision either.
Absolutely
Everyone's
bankrupt.
looking for soft options.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.